Welcome back to Turner Classic Movies. I'm Dave Karger. We're wrapping up our Saturday afternoon now with a movie that earned 3 Oscar nominations for its director, producer, and co-writer, Stanley Kubrick. From Columbia Pictures in 1964, it's Dr. Strangelove. The full title is Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, and the movie was based on the 1958 novel Red Alert, which was written by Peter George. The original novel was a tense thriller about the threat of nuclear escalation between the United States and the Soviet Union. When Stanley Kubrick began planning his adaptation, he initially intended to stay faithful to the book's serious tone, but as he worked on the script, he began to see how absurd the characters and the story were, and he realized it would work much better as a dark satire. The story begins when a paranoid U.S. general launches a nuclear attack against the Soviet Union. Before the bomb can reach its target, everyone scrambles to abort the mission, and the movie cuts back and forth between the war room in Washington, D.C., the Air Force Base, and the cockpit of the B-52 bomber that's on its way to carry out the fraudulent orders. Stanley Kubrick wrote the screenplay with author Peter George and satirist Terry Southern, but another collaborator also contributed to the script without a writing credit, Peter Sellers. Peter Sellers played 3 different starring roles in the film, and Kubrick encouraged him to improvise his scenes. Together, they came up with a character who wasn't in the original novel, a deranged Nazi scientist named Dr. Strangelove. You'll also see Sellers as the U.S. president and as a Royal Air Force captain. For his trifecta of memorable performances, Sellers earned a Best Actor Oscar nomination. From 1964, also with George C. Scott, Sterling Hayden, Keenan Wynn, Slim Pickens, and James Earl Jones, here is Dr. Strangelove. Dr. Strangelove was the second movie that Stanley Kubrick made with actor Sterling Hayden. They previously worked together nearly a decade earlier when Hayden starred in Kubrick's excellent heist film, The Killing, Kubrick's first film shot with a professional cast and crew. Hayden began working in Hollywood in the early 1940s and became a star primarily in westerns and crime dramas, including the landmark 1950 heist movie, The Asphalt Jungle. Dr. Strangelove came late in his career and gave him one of his best and most memorable roles. It was also an ironic role because despite his character's violent anti-communist sentiments, Sterling Hayden had been a member of the Communist Party back in the 1940s. But when he was called before the House Un-American Activities Committee in 1951, he named the names of colleagues who were members. His cooperation spared him the agony of the blacklist, but Hayden felt ashamed of his testimony for the rest of his life. Coming up, it's time for this week's 2-for-1 double feature. Paul Giamatti is here with Ben Mankiewicz to introduce 2 movies that he's selected, beginning with a cult classic horror film from 1962.
Next on TCM, Carnival of Souls, then Rosemary's Baby, and later, Southside 1000. TCM's got Noir Alley on speed dial tonight.